Hi, everybody. So this is Patrick here, and today I want to talk to you about the term multiplicative inverse. What is a multiplicative inverse? Most simply stated, multiplicative inverse is a number or a fraction that, when multiplied by another number or fraction, produces a product of 1. For instance, here's an example. If we say, here we'll do example 1. Let's say for the number 2. The number 2 multiplied by 1/2 will equal 1. And so 2 and 1/2 is, they are multiplicative inverse for each other. You could also say, every whole number can be written as a fraction, and sometimes it's a little easier to see why that works if you write it as fractions. And you'll see that, if you have 2 times 1, it will equal, here, I'll write that a little differently, actually. Here, if you bear with me, I don't want to mess this up too much. Here, we'll just put that in there. Let's do, there we go. If you go 2 times 1 over 2. So 2 times 1, of course, is going to equal 2, and 1 times 2 is also going to equal 2, which would simplify to 1, which is kind of why that works. So that's an example of what a multiplicative inverse can look like. Now, they can also look very different. Here, I'm going to, let's do this. I'm going to clear some room. For instance, what about someone might say, okay, so multiplicative inverse. What if it's the number 1, for instance, right? Because 1 times 1 equals 1. And so 1 is its own multiplicative inverse. The only way you're going to multiply 1 by another number is to multiply it by itself to get 1. So in a nutshell, a number or a fraction that is multiplied by another number or fraction to produce the product of 1, they're considered multiplicative inverses of each other. All right. So I'll give you one more example, but I really don't want to belabor the point. It's hopefully it's a little obvious to you. But what if I were to say, I don't know, let's say, okay, what if it's example 2? What if we say it's a negative? Let's say -3, right? What do you multiply -3 by to make it equal 1? And so I always like to think, okay, it's a whole number, but I can treat it as a fraction if I just put 1 under it. And so in order to cancel out the negative, we know that the multiplicative inverse of -3 is going to have to also be a negative, because it has to produce a positive 1 as the result. And so if we start with that and we look up at our example up here, you notice that the inverse are reciprocals in the fraction terms. And when you flip the denominator and the numerator and denominator, they are reciprocals. And so we could say, well, what if it's -1/3? And -3 times -1 would be a positive 3. And 1 times 3 would be a positive 3 as well. And you'd end up with 3/3, which of course would reduce to 1. Hopefully this is making a little bit of sense for you. If it's not, send me a message. I'll do a better job, I promise. All right. Hopefully this has helped some of you. Thank you very much. Have a great day.